I'm going to get a sip of something to drink because I'm about to die. Don't drink Mountain Dew, kids, it's bad for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Vapor Honing Technologies video. If you guys caught our last video, we actually cleaned up the cylinder out of a TRX250R, which if you guys remember is my favorite four-wheeler of all time, so I am stupid excited to be doing this project. But this thing turned out absolutely phenomenal. I'll put up some before and after footage so you guys can see what we did here. It was in its raw aluminum state. So today we're gonna be tackling the side cover here, which is painted. This is also aluminum, so we're gonna be able to show you guys how to go from paint to polished aluminum. We're actually gonna have to use two abrasives on this, because if you remember from last time, with this part, we used glass bead, which is perfect for bringing up that polished look. But what it's not great at is removing the coating that's actually pre-existing on the part. So I believe we're gonna try and use a 220 aluminum oxide. We would typically recommend to use a 120, but we actually don't have it in the showroom. If that does not work, I'm gonna bump up to a 90 aluminum oxide. Now that's some very aggressive stuff and it definitely should get the job done. But a 220 is gonna show you more or less what it would look like in your shop with a 120. So I guess without further ado, let's get to it. So again, as I was saying earlier, guys, this does have 220 aluminum oxide in this thing. And if I hold it up here, you guys can see how fine this abrasive is, but kind of in the glistening of the light, you can see the angular sides. So this is a very sharp abrasive. And again, it's gonna do a very good job of stripping this paint, but it's not going to damage any of these thinner aluminum pieces, nor the threaded holes like where your oil check would be. It will not damage any of that stuff. You guys aren't gonna have to worry about that with vapor honing just because of how safe this process is. You also don't have to worry about your sealing surfaces. They're gonna be perfectly fine. No pitting is gonna happen. Again, just because of how soft vapor honing is on the surface. It's kind of where you have that water coming into play. As your slurry is hitting the part, even though it's being propelled by the compressed air, the water does a good job of cushioning the surface as well as cooling it. So you don't have to worry about the abrasive taking chunks out of your metal. Your parts are gonna be perfectly fine. If you're worried about your parts, say they're old, dilapidated, and you're just wanting to bring them back to life, start with your pressure lower. We're actually gonna start high because I know that this part's not gonna be damaged. But if you have a part you're worried about, start with the pressure low. You can always bring it up, but it'll keep your parts safe. And again, vapor honing will not damage those guys. So let's go ahead and show you guys what this thing's gonna look like. I'm pretty excited. I think it's gonna come off fairly easy. I do believe this is the original paint because you guys can kind of see where his boot or whatever he was wearing while he was riding started to wear this thing. So let's give it a shot. Oh, okay, can you see that? Yeah. Let me show you guys what this does. You ready? I'm talking seconds. I don't know if you can see that. That is not even a competition. Look at that. Can you see that, John?
Yeah, I did.
That's insane. So this is, like I said, that factory black paint. So it's probably seen a lot of hot rides where it's been put up wet. And this 220 aluminum oxide is just making quick work of it. Let's go ahead and get this guy cleaned up. I think as easy as this is coming off, we definitely should just clean this one up, and I'm gonna throw it in the glass bead machine just to show you the polished effect. And I'll kind of do like a split section here, especially on this front piece, so you guys can see the difference between aluminum oxide and the glass bead, just so you can see what you want to do with your project. That's one thing I wish I could show on camera too, is just how easy it actually is to see inside these machines. I know when you're watching it on video, it looks like it's really hard to see through these windows, but it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like, you know, whenever you're looking at your car windshield and there's rain hitting it, if you're looking at the windshield, you can't see past it, but if you kind of focus your eyes past it, you can see everything on the road. That's what we have issues with when we're trying to show this stuff off on camera. It's actually really easy to see through the window with your eyes, but the camera only focuses on the window. But let's focus on this. That's insane. So you guys can see where it's just starting to work here and peel that paint off with no problem. So I'm gonna finish this part up and show you guys a quick result, and then we'll get some glass bead on this guy and make it look awesome. If you guys are interested in this exact machine, this is actually our 800 base model. So let's see, the base came to market in 2016, and it was really just so we could get an economic option to the market. A lot of people still use metal cabinets, and while they're nice, they also take a long time to manufacture. And in my opinion, they're nowhere near as robust as one of these things. I actually run one of these at my house, and I know what kind of abuse they can go through. I mean, they are solid as can be. They're 1/4 inch HDPE. We dropped one from a 60-foot boom, and the thing suffered minimal damage. Let's try that with a metal cabinet and see what happens. I mean, these things are pretty substantial. But yeah, if you guys are actually interested in getting one of these machines in your shop, business, whatever it may be, you can call us at 828-202-5563 or check out the link in the description below. But again, these things are pretty sweet, and they make a great addition to any machine shop, restoration shop, or remanufacturing facility. Actually, and for stuff like this, manufacturing for coating and whatnot. But again, let's finish this part out. I'm just super impressed with how well this thing's working. If you guys can hear the noise that is starting to happen and the sputtering of the gun here. So if you guys have a vapor honing machine and you hear that noise and you're not exactly certain what it is. So in your sedimentation banks, you have this top basin. That's where the water overflows and it's allowed to settle, and your clean water flows over into this bottom basin. If this bottom basin runs dry, your pump back there is actually trying to pump, but there's nothing in it. So what's gonna happen is when this machine drains, that's when it'll overflow and it'll actually be able to build pressure, because currently it's trying to build air. But if you guys hear this in your shop, that's what that means. Okay, really quick, before everybody comments, he missed a spot. This is actually gonna be for a little bit of testing I wanna do. You guys can see the aluminum oxide did a fantastic job of removing that paint that was already on here, but I want to see if glass bead is actually gonna be able to take this off. Just because of how easily it was coming off in here, it might not, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And not only will we see if we can remove this paint, but also if we can brighten this up in one go. This bike's probably from around the 80s. So like I said, that paint's been on here for a while. But yeah, let's see how this thing does. Now, I should mention that this is actually the older version of our 1000 HD. The 1000 HD is kind of like the top dog in terms of industrial equipment. We have our 1000, which was actually one of the original machines in our lineup. This version is kind of our custom built version. The standard 1000 HD is an awesome piece of industrial equipment, but it kind of uses off-the-shelf products that we're able to source. That way it's a little bit less expensive for you guys, but this one actually has a custom built in-house pump. It's truly rated for everyday use. We've actually never had any issues out of our 1000 HDs that are in the field. And this one here, the original, has served for how many years would you say, John? It's at least been 5 this thing's been in here, because it's been here since I kind of started. But yeah, this thing is going to give you no issues if you decide to go with the 1000 HD. We've had a lot of companies that are like, hey, we want a machine that you know will never fail. And so that's what the 1000 HD came for. I mean, even with the 1000s, they're under warranty, it's not gonna be an issue, but they wanted something that they knew was never gonna give any issues, and so this was our guarantee. But yeah, we'll use this thing to clean this guy up and show you guys how awesome these results can be. It's taking it off. It definitely is. So guys, I pulled this part out really quick so I can kind of show you a demonstration between glass bead and aluminum oxide. I just held my hand on the part while I was blasting it. So it's not super scientific, and you can actually kind of see a little bit of the water marks on here, as well as just casting impurities on the part. But what you can see is on my right-hand side, which is your left-hand side, the metal does appear darker, and it does have a more coarse finish compared to this more polished side over here. And again, that just goes back to the characteristic of the abrasive itself. If you guys are wanting to do any sort of coating afterwards, you most definitely need to be using an aluminum oxide just to kind of create that nice bonding surface that your paint's able to grab onto. But if you're wanting to leave this part with the nice vapor finish, as we like to call it, glass bead's most definitely the way to go. So I'm gonna finish it up with glass bead and show you guys what that looks like. Yeah, there's really nothing else to say. I mean, this thing turned out flawless. You guys can actually see on the actual casting there's these spatter pieces is what it looks like. This is actually not from vapor honing. This is on the metal itself. And also something else that's really cool to look at on specifically these old Honda castings, because this was definitely done in the 80s. We had a CB350, I think it was a Honda race bike that came through. That is actually one of my first times blasting parts for a customer in here, and I kept blasting it and could not figure out what it was. And if you look really closely on this part, you can kind of see some streaks. I thought I was hot spotting, which if you're not familiar with wet blasting, hot spotting is where you leave the blast gun in one spot too long and it just treats it to a different amount than the rest of the part. And I thought that's what I was doing. But that's actually not what this is at all. It's actually impurities in the metal. So from Honda, whenever they were actually casting these engines, there are impurities and different balances of the metal. And so that's the streaks that you're seeing. And you're rolling it so you can see the different colors in the metal, which I think is really cool. And it's something that I like to preserve when I'm doing it, because it just shows the age of the part and also the history of it. So to me, it's something I like to see at this point, but whenever I was first doing it, I didn't like it at all. This one actually turned out really well. It's quite uniform for its age. I think it looks phenomenal, especially considering we were actually able to do it all with glass bead. It was able to remove that paint, no problem. So this is actually the perfect example of something that you guys could be doing at your home as a remanufacturing facility, or actually in your manufacturing process if you guys are creating stuff like this. This is the bread and butter of vapor honing, because you're going to be able to get excellent looking parts just like this. And again, here's this cylinder head. If you guys want to see how we did this, it was a similar process, but we actually discussed a few more kind of key points when it comes to cleaning up aluminum and things of that nature in that video. So make sure you check it out. We'll put it up here somewhere. But again, if you guys have any questions regarding vapor honing, please leave them in the comments below. We would love to know how you think you can use vapor honing, what attracted you to it, what you guys would like to know about it. Again, the comment section is kind of our place to help you guys grow your knowledge and also learn and communicate with you. So again, just please leave any questions, comments, concerns, whatever it may be, in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you guys are ready to start getting this level of performance in your shop today, you can reach us at 828-202-5563. Make sure you guys check out our website. We have a very good machine lineup, as well as a lot of blogs and articles posted about wet blasting, how you can use it with your process, and how you can get the most out of the wet blasting process. So again, make sure you guys check out our website. It's vaporhoningtechnologies.com, and also stay subscribed to our channel. We're always releasing more educational videos, before and afters, new processes that we're currently developing to just try and show you guys what we're capable of here and how you guys can use us in your processes. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and peace.